Hello, everybody out in LinkedIn land and YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. Thank you so much for joining me today. TikTok, are you here, TikTok? I can't remember, but I'm so excited to have you all joining with me today. And I'm going to be talking about, I've got a question. Are you preparing for a hypothetical career setback? So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. But first, I want to celebrate the fact, and I'm going to go to my reactions and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and finally, I'm going to do this because today happens to be the 1 year birthday anniversary of Career Alchemy Academy. So I was out to breakfast this morning with my assistant and my son and my husband celebrating this auspicious day. And uh, it's one of the things that I will admit I have not been the greatest at in my life. And I talk about it inside of Career Alchemy Academy, the idea that, our brains like to focus on the things that aren't going well. We will hyper focus on mistakes we've made or, something we should have said, something we shouldn't have said. We can spend lots of time ruminating, beating ourselves up. And then there's these celebrations, these big and small wins that happen in our lives, right? And it's that yay, next, what's next mentality. And I will say, I have been, one of those people in the past, lots of things to celebrate, and I spend very little time, except for my birthday. I will say, my birthday's the day after Christmas. And so because it often would get lost in the Christmas hubbub, I started, when I became an adult, I started just deciding that it was my personal national holiday and we were going to celebrate by doing birthday bowling. And I've talked about this here before. And we still do that for, it's been over 2 decades now, 3 decades probably, that every December 26th, friends, family come together and we do birthday poker bowling. That's a whole nother thing. And if you are interested in what I mean by poker bowling, just DM me or send me a message. I'm happy to jump on a call and give you a really fun way to kind of up level bowling. But aside from all of that, most of the time, I am very much like, what's next? Let's go on to the next thing. And so over the last few years, I have been changing that habit and really focusing on daily wins, weekly wins, monthly wins, quarterly wins, yearly wins. And today we are celebrating the 1 year birthday anniversary of Career Alchemy Academy. So it's just fantabulous. It's been, I cannot say how special this group of women are that are part of Career Alchemy Academy that have been joining. Some are joined today, October 29th, when we did our first kickoff call. They actually probably joined a little bit before that because, we were letting people know they could join, but today was our original kickoff call. And there are still people inside of Career Alchemy Academy from that day. So thank you all to the founding alchemists and those of you who have joined and continue to remain or were part of it even for just 6 months or however, that's how long you join for, 6 months. So thank you. And it's a worthy celebration. It's worthy of acknowledgement. And it's just going to continue to get better and better. I have ideas, I have thoughts, I have plans. So DM me if you want to talk about what is Career Alchemy Academy. What can you expect? How does it go? And or just join. Just follow the QR code and join. So that's it. That's just one thing I wanted to say today because I am marking today and celebrating myself and a dream that had been there for years, a few years, that came to life, that is now in reality and continuing to have a life of its own and continue to shine its light out in the world of all of the things that you can spend your time doing. Career Alchemy Academy is, I think, just an amazing option. So there you have it. But now let's get back to this, idea of setting yourself up for a hypothetical career setback. So a couple things prompted me to write about this particular topic. And one of them was that I was in a coaching call with a client and talking about her upcoming performance review that also included an ask for a salary increase. And so we're talking about the performance review, and she goes, one thing I'm thinking about is whether I should change my response from exceeds to meets expectations in several areas that she had inside of her performance review. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm curious. Tell me more about that. Why are you considering that? And she said, well, the thing was that at the last performance review, she had met a bunch of expectations and talked to her boss. She knew she wanted to get an increase, but her boss said, we need to see some areas here where you're exceeding expectations. And so they set out the plan, and she more than met the plan that her boss had set out. She had absolutely exceeded all expectations. But and even besides that, the president of the company had specifically came up to her and said, I just want you to know that you are performing beyond expectations, that the person that you replaced in this role, we didn't even realize what was possible until she joined. Like, she brought so much more to the role, and she was getting also lots of feedback, praise, acknowledgement in writing and just verbally from colleagues on different teams about that breath of fresh air, right? That she really was bringing a lot of rigor to the process for them, and they were seeing the real value and the real benefit that her role could offer when you have the right person in it, right? So she was getting all of that, and just the things that her boss had told her she needed to do, she had check, exceeded all of those. So I thought, this doesn't even make sense that you would even question this idea that you should change from exceeds to meets. It just didn't even make sense to me. Our brains are just so sneaky that way. And I said, there's got to be more to this. I said, well, I don't even understand why you're questioning this. And she goes, well, she said, this also is tied into the salary conversation. And I'm like, oh, now it's coming into place. She was planning to ask for more money. She, in fact, knew what the previous person was making, that everyone was saying, you are so much better than them. You are, there's so many reasons why, she was deserving of a pay increase. She wanted to ask for the same salary that person had been making, which was a significant jump for her. And so she was already like tying both the meets to exceeds to asking for the salary. And because she was having thoughts about the salary, and specifically, this person was more experienced than her. And so she was measuring years of experience to justifying the salary, if that makes sense, right? So she was thinking, if I had 5 years of experience, or in her case, 10 years of experience, that would justify it. But I only have 6 years of experience. And so therefore, I don't think I can ask for this increase to get to that point. Therefore, I'm going to just put meets on my performance appraisal so that I can then find some other ways that I can get to exceeds, and maybe I'll feel better about it next year when I have another year under my belt, right? Like you can see where kind of things are going, which makes zero sense because again, 25 years plus in the recruiting industry, I can tell you that there are people that have 10 years of experience, or will I say 1 year of experience for 10 years, like the same thing over and over and over again. So they have 10 years of experience on paper, but it's really 1 year of experience, where you have someone who has 5 years of experience on paper, but every year they've added more skills, more expertise, more value back into the organization. So their 5 years is more like 15 years, right? So who should get a certain salary? And basing it on just a years of experience is not the way to do it. And the fact that she had exceeded all of these expectations, and the fact that she was getting feedback both from teammates and colleagues, other teams that she was working with, and the president of the organization, there was no reason for her not to ask for this increase. But what she was doing is what I called, that's when I was thinking about it. The second reason that prompted the blog was I had heard Rowan Mangan. And so if you aren't listening to the Bewildered podcast, that is one of my go-to podcasts, and Rowan co-hosts it with Martha Beck, who people may know Martha Beck's name. She is one of the coaching certification programs that I went through, that I got certified in. And she has also, I can really consider her my spiritual coach and mentor and just life coach in general, based on from her books and personal through the coaching experience and other things that I do, work that I do with her through the things she offers, right? And so her and Rowan have the Bewildered podcast, and on it, Rowan said something that really stuck out to me. She said, "We are often protecting ourselves from a hypothetical future." So as we're talking about this, I'm all of a sudden I'm like, I think you're protecting yourself from a hypothetical future. So let's talk about that. So for her, the hypothetical future was that if she put exceeds, but then didn't get the salary that she was asking for, she was going to be very, very disappointed. And so she was protecting herself from this hypothetical future of disappointment. But hypothetical, just in the nature of that word, means that there are also, it's just a possible future. There's also several other hypothetical futures, one of which she exceeds expectations, she gets agreement from her boss, and she gets the pay raise, right? So why do we spend so much time leaning in again into these protecting ourselves from disappointment, instead of going for it and knowing that if we are disappointed, we can be with that capacity to be with the disappointment. We can be with that. But also we may be being with the celebration, right? Which can also be uncomfortable. Like I said, at the, celebrating the year-long Career Alchemy Academy, yeah, that's worth celebrating. That's a hypothetical future worth celebrating, right? So she was protecting herself against potential disappointment, instead of saying, well, that's one hypothetical future, but there are other very, very possible hypothetical futures that she could also be preparing for, like the one in which she was putting down a deposit on her dream home because of the salary increase she got. Well, specifically the hypothetical future where she asked for it and got the increase, the one where her boss is celebrating her for her confidence and her leadership, and she's receiving all of that, the kudos, not thinking, but that's great, but what if I don't get the raise, right? But instead she's receiving all of that and taking it in and believing it about herself as much as they are believing it, and adding to her value bank, right? And adding to her confidence bank, so that this ask is like she's going for it, no matter the outcome. Or that hypothetical future where you realize that acknowledging your own excellence, your own exceeding of expectations, doesn't mean you're bragging in any way. And I hear that a lot. Like, I don't want to, I don't want to come across as, bragging or that arrogant, but instead it's just you being honest and owning what you've done in your job, and the value that you've added, and the ease that you've, the obstacles you've removed for the team, and the sort of, as someone who manages a team, I can tell you that knowing that you're doing your job well helps me sleep better at night. So the president of our organization is like, I just want you to know this. You take that in and you're like, yeah, I'm sleeping better. The boss and the president of the organization are sleeping better because of the work I'm doing. And just, it isn't bragging. It isn't arrogance. It's just the truth. So that hypothetical future, let's go there, right? So yes, you can look at, your brain's going to offer you first and foremost, almost every time, the things that, that might happen that are going to be disappointing. And, it's worth looking at those worst case scenarios. It's worth looking at it to just see if there's anything else. Is there any info in there? Not to beat yourself up, and certainly not to hold yourself back. But is there any info in there that maybe I can, make a tweak, or, do one more thing before my performance review that'll make me feel really good? And then move right into what are these other hypothetical, you know, futures that I can be preparing to celebrate, right? Preparing to feel the excitement of. So maybe gather a little data, but do not stay on hypothetical worst case scenario island. Move quickly over to hypothetical future where I'm energized and having fun and being acknowledged and owning my own capabilities, and asking for that raise and getting it, right? That's where you want to spend your time. Your career just doesn't live in hypothetical land of fear and doubt, but also in the hypothetical future of courageous asks, making bank, having fun, shining in your career. That's where we want to go. So let's not prepare for worst case scenario, hypothetical future going forward. Let us celebrate in advance the hypothetical future of big money and fantastic promotions, and going after your dream like I did with Career Alchemy Academy, and seeing it's in reality now, and that people are joining and are giving me such amazing feedback about how their lives have been benefited, and how appreciative they are of this thing that, yeah, I take credit for taking an idea that was downloaded to me and actually bringing it into the physical world. I take credit for that, because I have lots of ideas that get downloaded that I just never bring into the physical world. And so credit to the muse and credit to me for taking that inspiration and bringing it into the world that is now benefiting so many people. And you too can live in that hypothetical future right now, bringing your future into your now, that's full of celebration and big money, big wins, and just standing in your shine, right? Like just standing in who you are and the contributions you're making in the world. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. Looking forward to coming again live on this broadcast next week, same time, same place, 1 o'clock Central Time. And please do not wait anymore. let's bring your hypothetical future of, having a plan for where you're going in your career, of having steps on how you're going to get there, and having tools to make sure that they happen, and having a community that is there for you, this support that's never ending. So join Career Alchemy Academy. Don't wait. Bring your future, your hypothetical future, into your future right now. Peace as usual. Celebrate yourselves and have a great week.